All right. I've lived here since 1955, and Weddington golf and tennis has always been a part of my life. Traffic flow is what I'll speak about. Harvard-Westlake proposes to add a 250 to 500 space parking lot on Whitsett, the only street that doesn't lead into the freeway or access over the hill. Coldwater is clogged and the Sportsman's Mall hasn't opened yet. Laurel Canyon's impossible. You propose to add at least 100 cars, some driven by teenagers, to the traffic on Whitsett. Only allowing right-hand turns onto Whitsett doesn't solve the problem. A left-hand turn creates more traffic. There's no way to control people driving down Coldwater from cutting through the neighborhood. More traffic on our narrow streets is going to be a menace. Then there's the danger to students who will walk down Coldwater from the school, cross at the F-rated Ventura and Coldwater busy, dangerous intersection to get to Weddington. The CUP states that the project should not jeopardize, endanger, or otherwise constitute a menace to the public health or safety. This project does just that. The application for the cut for this project should not even begin until we see what impact will arise from the Sportsman's Mall at Coldwater and Ventura. Thank you.
If we can respond briefly, very important concerns, traffic and safety. I'd like to ask Ari Engelberg to say a word or two.
Thanks for the question. So we're obviously concerned about traffic too. Just so you know, about the same number of students are going to use this site on a typical day than there are golfers and tennis players who use it currently. And so when we talk about traffic impacts, I think that the community's expectation for the number of cars that we're bringing to the site, the number of people who are going to come to the site are exaggerated. Obviously, we're going to make sure that students, whenever possible, are using shuttles, not private cars, to get to the site. And we're going to be very specific with students, faculty, coaches, staff, and parents who travel to the site that they need to stay on major streets, which is to go down Coldwater to Moore Park, turn right and come up to the property to make a right turn into the parking garage, or come down Ventura, turn left on Whitsett, and head into the garage off of Whitsett. It's our hope and our expectation that there will be dedicated turn lanes, that there will be appropriate signaling and other traffic calming measures to ensure that traffic impacts are mitigated.
Let me follow that up a little bit. Okay. You are obviously going to conduct a traffic impact study once the project gets underway. And right now, looking back at the 2012 Weddington traffic study, many of the intersections on Whitsett were already graded as being traffic jams. The study has grades from A to F in a traffic study, and these intersections were as poorly graded as E in the morning and D in the evening. And it was projected in that study that the grades would go as low as F by 2016, and there's probably people here that are grading that would say they're F now. And so my question is, ordinarily you'd have the availability of a 1% increase in traffic from your project being considered a significant increase for an intersection that is already graded at an E or F. And so the question is, would you include your main campus as a combined traffic study when you do the study, as a first question? And the second question is, would you commit to downgrading your project size if needed to achieve less than zero impact on traffic through the next decade?
Thank you, Charles, for that additional question regarding traffic. A lot of what you're referring to is the analysis that the city requires as part of the application process. When it comes to the specific intersections that a third-party expert will study, it's really up to the Los Angeles Department of Transportation to specify which intersections are to be studied as part of a project. So it's not something that we can influence or dictate. But we would certainly support whatever that conclusion is that the city comes to. As part of the second part of your question regarding whether there is determined to be as part of this independent traffic analysis a significant impact, then there is absolutely a consideration of what mitigation measures might be helpful in alleviating that impact. And it could be an increase in the level of vehicular ridership through a transportation demand management program. It could be through an increase in shuttles and shuttle capacity, and it could be through the change in the use of the facilities. But absolutely, we would like to go through that process, understand what, if any, impacts result from what we've proposed so far, and we'll absolutely go through the efforts to try to mitigate any impact that's determined to exist in its draft form.
So is that a commitment to a zero impact on traffic?
I don't know what the appropriate threshold is according to what the city
Well,
would
the
dictate.
requirement says that 1% is significant. I'm saying that if you wanted to have no adverse effect on the community in intersections that are already graded as E or F, meaning that they're 100% of capacity, would you change the size of the project to create a zero impact?
We would entertain that as well as other options that would achieve the same result, yes.
Okay.
Hi, I'm John Alto. I'm a relative newcomer in terms of the residents here because I've only been here 35 years. I see some people here have been a while longer. Seeing the green space that we see across the street right now for those 35 years. I've been a runner most of my life, and I've run past this space thousands of times, at least once a week for decades. And I've never been on the property. I've always seen it through a chain link fence. And I just had no occasion to. I don't play tennis, I don't play golf, I swim and I run and do other things. But so I've just loved, and I completely understand people's concern about losing such vivid, vital, exciting natural space. But I would have the opportunity here to actually be on the property and enjoy it directly. And that's a huge improvement. I can't think of a better use of this space, and I'm really pleased with what I've seen.
Okay, over to you.
Hi, I live in the neighborhood and I've lived here for over 25 years and have 3 sons. And between Beeman Park and Van Nuys Sherman Oaks Park, I feel like adding something like this to the neighborhood would be of value. Like the man who spoke before me, I don't play tennis or golf, but I swim. And I feel like the other parks are pretty encumbered, and this would be an opportunity to add value to the community. I also sell real estate. I'm a Berkshire Hathaway in the neighborhood, and I don't know if you guys realize how much this is going to improve your property value to have something like this in the neighborhood. I mean, it will. Anyway. Never before have I seen such a well thought out and respectful proposal that takes into consideration the wants and needs of all of the constituents involved. This development will add value to Studio City in a way I never thought possible, increasing safety, environmental concerns, and adding a state-of-the-art facility. Thank you.
Hi, my question is regarding environmental, and we just had a global climate crisis strike in the last week, and I attended one of the meetings at the 6, and I was dismayed to learn that the current facility uses 1 million gallons of water per month. 12 million gallons of water, and if anyone knows, between 19 and 33% of all of energy use is to move water. So not only are we losing water, but we're also having a carbon footprint just to move the water there. Another thing that was mentioned at the 6 was the pesticides and the petroleum-based fertilizers that are used. So my question would be, how much of this would be eliminated in our community and our waterways with the change of use?
So I saved a few slides that will look quite familiar to what we went through, but for the benefit of those who have not seen them yet, I will accelerate through to water reclamation. This is a photograph I took about 9 months ago on, ironically enough, named Valley Spring. This is on a day when there was approximately a ½ inch of rainfall, and you can see the result of what happens with that amount of rain as it all drains to the northern border of that property on Valley Spring. And what happens with this water currently is that it hits the curb line, flows around, and empties into the river and out to the Pacific Ocean, where it is salinated and lost. And what we are proposing to do is through a series of very simple curb cuts, is to be able to capture that water, filter it, clean whatever pollutants have accumulated in there. It's not called the first flush for no reason. And then store it and use it on site for images like you see up on the screen and saw earlier as part of this river park development. Opportunities for wildlife to flourish in ways that don't exist now. Quite the contrary, as you pointed out, the golf course, and as the CFO, I pay the bills on that golf course. There are, on average, 1 million gallons of water consumed every single month. That's in addition to hundreds of pounds of fertilizers, pesticides, and fungicides that are applied over the course of the year. And so to do something as part of the project that is such a tremendous environmental benefit, to us is an exciting opportunity, not just for the folks who might move through the river park on their own, who may live in the neighborhood, but for, this is one of my favorite images, for something like this, right? We have a lot of educators in the room who've spoken tonight and who are in the audience. To have an opportunity where our friends at local elementary schools can come by and see the physical, the biological, and the mechanical all at work at the same time, that's a wonderful experience and one that we would really enjoy providing as part of this project. Thank you.